Myself, Richu Sebastian. I am a BSc nurse with 7 years of experience in labor and delivery. So, our last video was about amniotic fluid and the polyhydramnios. Today I will take regarding oligohydramnios. Keep a pen and pencil for the effective learning, and please don't hesitate to share the video if you feel this is really helpful. Oligohydramnios is defined as reduced amniotic fluid volume of less than 200 ml at time or amniotic fluid index less than 5 cm at 28 to 40 weeks. So in our last video we have already discussed regarding amniotic fluid index. I'm not going in detail with that. When it comes to the causes, there are two causes. First one is maternal and the second one is fetal. So there are some conditions under the maternal causes like hypertensive disorders, uteroplacental insufficiency, dehydration, postpartum pregnancy and pre-labor rupture of membrane. So these all comes under the maternal causes. And in the fetal causes, what all are the causes? We'll just list down that. It's intrauterine growth retardation, intrauterine infection, urinary tract obstruction, chromosomal and structural abnormalities, and because of some effectiveness of some drugs like prostaglandin inhibitors or ACE inhibitors. When it comes to the clinical features, we can see while inspection we can see the mother's uterine size will be very small, and the fetal movements, as there is no enough space for the baby to move, the movements of the fetus will be very less, and always the uterus will feel like it's a full, like there is no space for the baby to move, so the uterus is full with the fetus. Okay, and of course the malpresentation, because at that time what happens in normal, if the baby is in a oblique line, then towards the time the baby moves and comes to the longitudinal, as well as if the baby is in breech presentation, there are some chances for the baby to come back to the cephalic presentation. So what happens in the oligohydramnios, there is no space for the baby to move from one place to another. Next, again for the diagnosis, what are things we should ask with the patient? We should have a detailed history collection first. We should know the maternal conditions like hypertension or preeclampsia of the mother, then any family history of any conditions, any allergic medication history, and any PV leak-in. So we should ask for the vaginal discharge, when she is feeling the discharge, and as well as the color and the smell of the discharge. So we should have a thorough detailed history collection first. Then it comes to the physical examination. As we have seen in the clinical features, the uterus size will be small and there will be less fetal movements, as there is less chance of uteroplacental insufficiency. The baby's growth will be retarded, so this will leads to intrauterine growth retardation, and as we said, malpresentation. Then comes on to the ultrasonography. We have mentioned already the amniotic fluid index will be less than 5 cm. Next is complications. Again, the complications is divided into maternal and fetal complications. So for the maternal, what all things can happen? The labor will be prolonged. Then there may be a higher chance of getting the instrumental delivery or a cesarean section because of the malpresentations. Okay, there will be chorioamnionitis, that is the bacterial infection of the chorion and the amnion. Next comes to the fetal complications. There will be chromosomal abnormalities or any congenital anomalies. As we said earlier, there will be fetal growth restrictions or the retardation, IUGR. Then intrauterine death may be because of the infection, because of the chorioamnionitis. There may be intrauterine death. Then intrauterine infections we have said already, following the rupture of membranes and the prematurity. Due to reduced amniotic fluid volume, there will also be a chance of skeletal deformities, pulmonary hypoplasia, umbilical cord compression, meconium aspiration, and low Apgar scores. Final is the management. So, for the management, first and foremost thing is the adequate rest, that to decrease dehydration. If the mother is getting dehydrated again, there is a chance of getting the amniotic fluid again to be a low index. Okay, and for maintaining the hydration, what we'll do a oral or IV replacement, and there should be a serial ultrasonography to monitor the fetal growth. There will be amnio infusion to reduce the cord compression and to dilute meconium. In case of pre-rupture of membrane, antibiotics and steroid should be given to the mother. We know antibiotics is given to prevent the infection and steroid is given to improve the lung maturity of the fetus. So later we'll do a induction of labor and we'll terminate the pregnancy. Termination of pregnancy is just we'll induce the labor and we'll take the baby out either by a vaginal or by a cesarean section in case the baby is in a malpresentation or in case of severe infection. Hope you understood about oligohydramnios, and I request you to share the content to the other nurses who are in really in need. Maybe they are preparing for their exams or they are studying the third year or fourth year. I hope this will help them a lot. And one more thing, my telegram link is given there in the description box. You can just take the notes from there. You can make use of that. Okay, thank you so much for the support you have given.